Holy shit, boy.
You actually came back for another guide. That's some
spicy work ethic.
Well then, I suppose I have no choice but to drop that wisdom on you, Poppy. Before we hop into that, let me just say thank you to all the new people that have checked out the channel in the last 48 hours. It's been literally fucking insane. Absolutely blown away by y'all's support. Just hoping to continue building an awesome community around Halo and any other, competitive game we decide to cover in the future. So, love y'all. Now, listen up. Let's talk about my fave game mode, CTF.
Actually, I think Oddball is my favorite, but back to CTF.
Tip number 1, don't constantly try to push into the enemy base every time you spawn. If your mindset every time you spawn is, okay, I'm going to try and push into their base and grab the flag every time you spawn, you won't accomplish anything significant. Plus, it's not really a game plan, you're just repeating a broad explanation of what the game mode is in your head. It's like saying, okay, we're playing Slayer, I'll make sure to shoot people. Sure, it might work sometimes, but it'll rarely lead to you actually capturing the flag. I'm sure what actually happens is a game of back and forth flag juggles where you make it almost halfway across the map before dying or not even. Next time you spawn, think instead, okay, I'm going to try and hold down a power angle or be ready for the next wave of power-up spawns, and that could be power-up weapons as well. At least by doing this, you're denying the enemy team resources and it'll help you lock down that side of the map. Tip 2, acquire space and power-ups, and that includes weapons. Now, I know I just mentioned this, but let's be more specific. You're playing CTF on Bazaar. The game just started and you have a few routes you can go that will all give you different advantages not long after. Grabbing rockets is the most obvious choice for most people. However, what I would recommend is going double doors, grabbing grapple while your team fights over OS and rockets, and then you can grapple rockets to you, or at least grapple up to them and secure 2 power resources almost simultaneously. I do it basically every game. If rockets are taken or grapple is contested with nades and too many bodies, I'd recommend my next favorite, which is dynamo grenades. Not only can you throw them treehouse to push back the enemy or push them out of treehouse to get them finished off by teammates, but you can also use them to drain an enemy OS if they end up grabbing overshield before you. So I know a lot of times if they grab OS, if you throw them immediately, it might not burn them, but if you're going to die and he's rushing you to do a melee trade, just throw him at your feet. It will drain the OS, and at least it's burned and he didn't really get much out of it. Shit, he might even die too if your teammate helps you. So next time you spawn, have that in mind. Ask where people are going, or just tell them where you're going and be very clear. Make it a habit. When all is said and done, and if done correctly, you should buy your team a lot of space to move more freely toward the enemy base. I'd recommend also trying to take over a cafe area in Bazaar. It allows great sight lines to basically every area of the map, and should, even in solo queue, win you more flag caps. Tip number 3, when to push. This tip alone can win or lose you a game, so killing 1 or 2 enemies doesn't mean push the flag all out. In early game, I'll see people do this immediately, and if they get a kill or 2, they just yell push the flag, everyone's rushing the base, and oftentimes they die. Instead, establish yourself at key points in the map. With every pick or 2, you can kind of slowly inch forward toward their base while maintaining those power positions. Now this also controls the spawns, so you're not getting people spawning behind you. Now that's if your team is coordinating, which isn't always the case, so here's what to do if you're solo. If your team picks 3 of them, and let's say you're mid-map, go ahead and start pushing toward their base. On Bazaar, if you do this, they'll usually always spawn under Spanker for the most part, right where Shotgun is, so you'll know where 3 of them should be popping up if you just pick that many, and can kind of plan your flag route off of that and around it. So whenever you can kill 3/4 of the enemy team, it's almost always a good idea to grab flag, unless power items and weapons are coming up within the next few seconds, in which case I'd prioritize grabbing those resources instead. The worst case scenario is you push those flags, they all spawn, get the power resources, stop you, return theirs, and now they also have power weapons. You're just spawning. You're going to be spawning in your base, they're going to be rushing you with power weapons, and you're all dead again. Tip number 4, when to retreat. Another simple tip, and one that can transfer to all game modes almost, is retreating to defend the base / flag or objective when your team or majority of your team is dead. If 2 or even 3 of your team members die while fighting out in the middle of the map, just let them know you're falling back till they spawn. If the enemy pushes you, you can either A, kill them since they almost don't expect in matchmaking for someone to actually be defending, or B, buy time fighting them for backup to arrive. Make yourself a hard kill when defending, and if you do that successfully, it's kind of an overpowered ability in its own way. I've gotten really good at just dancing around pillars, so I can sometimes get my shields back and re-challenge an opponent even in that same fight. You're playing people, and it's good to remember that because people can panic, choke, and fuck up any advantage as long as you can annoy them long enough. So, falling back, defending, and making yourself a nuisance is always a good shot. Just make yourself a hard kill is really what I'm trying to say. It'll win you a lot more games regardless of what the game mode is. Tip number 5, what to do once you have the flag. Alright, so you just clapped Jimmy's cheeks while he was defending the flag, and his friends are either fighting yours or respawning after they've been wiped. So, what to do? Well, don't just flag juggle down mid and hope for the best. That happens too often. Instead, if you're not sure where enemies are, you can throw the flag out of their base and stay high ground to see if anyone comes running kind of, from the double doors area, from treehouse tiles, wherever it may be, to return the flag. This will allow you an easy kill, or take the flag around the perimeter of either side of the map, and when your team is fighting, trying to defend you, please just drop the flag and help. It'll feel wrong at first, like why on earth would I stop moving? However, if you wipe them again or even kill the ones in your immediate area, you can move freely to your base. Fun fact for those who don't flag juggle, you can slow walk with the flag and not be revealed to the enemy team for a good bit of time. Oftentimes, I'll be cafe with the flag on Bazaar and I'll throw it like toward the mid area as if I'm gonna go mid, and then I'll grab it right before it goes off the ledge and slow walk back into cafe, drop down spanker side, and continue my slow walk until I'm on the other side, like through the shotgun all the way until I'm by the, my mangler spawn, and then I'll haul ass. So, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong here, but it seems like it's worked every time. And I actually had someone do this to me on Behemoth, and we were like, yo, we cannot for the life of us find this flag carrier, because he was just slow walking. Not bridge, but like bottom, like I think it was like left tunnel, and they got all the way to base, so it works. Tip number 6. Flag juggling and grapple use. Final tip, and we'll keep this one on the shorter side as it's not the end all be all. Flag juggling has always been famous in Halo as a way to transport the flag quicker to your base. It's not insanely faster in this game than sprinting, however, if you master flag juggling with power slides, it is pretty crazy. You can also enter sprint mode with the flag and then just drop it while in that and kind of rinse, wash, and repeat, so you don't need to jump. This will save you the hassle of sometimes throwing the flag into the ceiling and then kind of getting pissed off. Talking about you, Aquarius, you slut. Basically, my point is this. There's many different ways you can transport the flag, whether it's juggling up and down, through the air, sprinting, walking, but more importantly, and more important than all of that, is that making sure you control the space around your flag carrier. If your teammate has the flag, set up a crossfire on him to catch anyone after him. Shit, even bounce some nades at his feet if he's running straight towards you. You know it's not going to hit him, and it'll hit anyone behind him, especially if you suspect someone is behind him. Just don't kill your homie. Essentially, they've become bait for easy kills.
Well, my beautiful people,
I'm pooped once again, but don't worry. We'll be back for a Halo Infinite shop video to review changes to the shop and prices, since 343 said they were going to be doing kind of a whole overhaul on that system. Other than that, I appreciate all the new love and hope you enjoy the Art of series. I try to make quality content instead of just pumping out a bunch of short shit talk about 343 and, people whining and all the usual stuff that gets views. So if you appreciate it, go ahead and sub and like. It's always appreciated, and, just trying to do what I can. All right, guys, until next time, wake me when you need me.